it's not taking any cache in terms of RAM from my designing PC. So I'll send my designs to a PC separate, and then it's running the mill while I design on a separate one, okay? All right, so how do we do this? In the administration side, the way you set it up is that you can set it up as a crown, it doesn't really matter, but ideally is to set it up as Pontics, and then you go 7 to 7 or 6 to 6, and you do multi-layer gingiva. Okay, so it's same as you did before. So the only difference is that you don't select crown because there's no preps, so you select Pontic. Yeah? So no crown, just Pontic, okay? Then you do multi-layer gingiva, 6 to 6 or 7 to 7. And you do top and bottom, same thing. And then when you do the veneering, because we're gonna do everything with Inlab, right? So remember that this morning I explained to you that you could either have the software from Avident or you have Exocad. So either one, you actually use denture teeth. If you use Inlab, then you don't use denture teeth. You mill everything out of pure MMA. So you have like the Lucitone base, you can mill that out, and then you can also mill it out from the dense plasterone, sort of shaded or multi-shaded, the multi-layered PMMA, okay? So what I do is this, select that, then when you go to model, oh, I'll go back to scan, I want to show you the scan. So in the scan, we have the upper and lower, so all this has been articulated, all right? So you scan your lower, you scan your upper, and when you do the buckle bite, you actually do the buckle bite with the bite rooms in place, okay? And then the copy, you add the copy catalog, and you scan that in your bite rooms, you use that on the copy catalog, all right? Why do you do that? So when you go to model, so the only thing that you do here in model now is that when you draw the margin with a contour of where you want the flanges of your base to be, right? As you're designing, you know when you wax up a denture, you put the wax to where you want it?
Yes.
Over here, you do the same thing, but all you do, you're marking an actual margin, all right? So when you go to the design stage, why do you do the biocopy with the bite rooms? When I do positioning, right? So when you're setting up the teeth, what I do is you go to display objects and you activate biocopy. And that gives you the position of the bite room. So now you know where the midline is and where the smile line is. So it aids you in positioning of your denture teeth, or of your teeth in this case, right? And then if you activate the upper jaw, then you know that the uppers should be slightly out of that bite room, okay? And then you set up the occlusion, and then you edit the elements. So this is the same phase. I'm just explaining to it, so I don't want it to recalculate. It's going to take too long. But I'm just showing it to you, but I want you to have a go. So this bit is the same as we did before on the all-on-4. You had multi-unit, and then it calculates the gingiva and the teeth, right? So you design this as your gingiva, you design your teeth as you'd like them, and then you hit edit multi-layer. So when you do edit multi-layer, it's going to create your preps. Now when you do denture, right, you don't want the veneering structure to be too thin. You know the denture teeth are quite solid, right? Because you don't want them to fracture. So what we do, say if I display my copy, take that away, and I'm going to take away the lower. So let's just say, so when it copies, right, or when it calculates, when it does edit the multi-layer here, I'm just going to ask the software to recalculate the base. So if I recalculate that, the lower, apply. I'll select the lower. All right, so when it calculates your multi-layer, when you say edit multi-layer, what it does, you've got the gingiva with preps, right? And then all we need to do is actually change recalculate and apply. Okay, my software is non-responsive. So what I wanted to show you is that if you look at this now, that area there, my preps are gone, right? It's because we use the scale tool. You know when I showed you on the multi-layers that you could use the scale tool and adjust the height of the preps. And oh, there we go. You see that one, right? So when it does, it gives you the prep like that, right?
Yeah.
So that will apply to every single one of them. So you'll have preps on all the teeth. What I do now is if I right click, and I go to scale, oh, there we go, scale. Then I'll do is I go occlusal, I remove the smooth out, and I go to that one, and what I do is I get rid of the prep, and I create a socket. So now when I mill out the veneering structure, that will be nice and solid, right?
Yeah.
And I mill it out as a bridge, and then I bond everything together. So now you've done a digital denture in a way, but using Inlab. So if you've got the MCX5, then all you need to do is buy a disc that is pink, and then you buy a disc in the color of the teeth that you want, A1, A2, whatever, right? And you mill that out. Then all you do, once you've got everything milled out, you bond everything together, and then you can actually customize the pink using composite or whatever, just to give that a little bit of extra feeling to it. It's entirely up to you, right? So this is how you do it. So if you kind of want to just open up the case and do one, instead of opening up the one that's full, which is top and bottom, if you open up this case and give it a try. So it's only one. So if you go to Inlab dentures and just pick either a lower or upper,
Yes.
and open that, and you'll have an upper denture with a full lower. So you've got teeth as the opposing. So open up the case and give it a try. Okay.